We are back on the Paul Miller Ford John Calipari Show, and a quick update on tickets for Wednesday night's game. They do have Eruption Zone tickets available for this game, and they will be distributed starting, or you can start lining up at 9 a.m. on this Wednesday morning. Tickets in the Eruption Zone, just $5 each. It is cash only, limited to one per person, and you must be present at the time of purchase. They will go on sale 90 minutes prior to tip-off, and the good news is it's going to be significantly warmer on Wednesday, so you can start lining up at 9 a.m. for those. Also, they have upper arena reserved seats available for this game and the one against Texas A&M on the 21st. And you can get those through the UK ticket office and all the regular distribution vehicles for the game Wednesday night as the Cats get set to open up conference play. We are joined here by Coach John Calipari to talk about that and other subjects. And you and the guys have a nice New Year's celebration?
We did fine. I want to tell the people here, I just walked in. I had to I caught the 5:30 mass. I missed this morning. My son goes and gets surgery tomorrow morning, so I wanted to go in there and take communion and think about him for a little bit tonight. So I just walked in the door, but yeah, I'm a little preoccupied because of that. He's got to go in early in the morning. They're going to make him stay overnight. Don't know if I'm going to stay overnight with him. I might, because he's scared to death right now. He doesn't like needles. Anybody in here like needles? Well, he said, put a bag over my head, hit me with a hammer before you put needles in me. So he's, scared to death. Doc Mayer's doing that surgery. I have all the confidence in the world, but it's, like anything else.
Sure.
When you're children, I would rather it be me than him. But, this is all, it's amazing that what he's been able to do through basketball, self-discipline, really driven without me doing anything. I mean, he's begging me to go over to the gym. Now he has adversity, and he has to deal with it. And that's the great life lessons you learn through this great sport that we play, along with you can't do this alone. And the more you care about other people, the more you play for them, the easier it becomes, kind of like life. And, those are the lessons he's learned. And I even said my oldest daughter shifted what she learned from there into her studies, which is now she sent me her badge, Dr. Calipari from Mount Sinai, neuroscience. I can barely say the word, but, and I've been pleased with our team right now. We just ended 13 days of a march. We went Christmas night. Next day we went 26 twice. Went on the 27th. We had like a blow-by game on the 28th. What was that? Who did we play? Oh, Louisville.
Who was that? Yeah.
A little bit of a pressure pack. So the next day we practiced. Then we went on the 20. That was the 29th. 30th we went twice. 31st we went twice. First we went twice. We practiced the second. We had a script day on the 3rd. Then we went 4, 5, and 6. Today we went once. Yesterday we went twice. The day before we went twice. So what we're having tonight, I'll be running out of here right as we end. We're going to meet at the house, and one of the things we have, the good, bad, and the ugly of camp. 13 days of camp. And they're going to see it first. The good, the bad, and the ugly. So it's to music. It's because this was a grind now. Part of what we do in this is try to stretch them out so they understand they can do more than they believe they can do. We also try to stretch them out in that when you're exhausted and you feel exhausted, most of it is in your mind. It's not your body. It's your mind. The biggest challenge they have, the biggest fight that they have, which we all have, is early in the morning getting ourselves out of bed and getting ready to go. That's a fight every morning. Come on now, folks. You know it is. Well, think when you're 18 and 19 how you used to be. That's the challenge. They get up in the morning. They got to fight every morning. And think about getting up every morning and thinking about what you have to do all day versus All right, when am I going to sleep again? So now they have breakfast together every day. Had a morning workout, some lifting, training, individual work, something, scripting. Have a quick bite and go back to the lodge together. Then have a practice together. Then we go to dinner together. We had dinner every night in these 13 days together. And then no phones. Talk to each other. Look at a guy. You know how many brothers and sisters he has? You ever talk to him? What's his name? Do you even know what? And so and there was more chatter now, and they were laughing, and then there were evening things that we did. Like tonight, we're gonna watch that tape and watch the first half of the national championship game in football together. And I think what happens is they start coming together. Now I don't know what that's going to mean in games right away, but I know this: we're a closer team. I can coach basketball now because I'm not begging them to play hard, to compete, to stay in a stance, to give up the ball early. My challenge to them right now was, you got to think different. When you have the ball, you ready, folks? Think pass. Think score when you don't have the ball. And then you look at me, if you're not a basketball Benny, and you say, well, what does that mean? That means when you give up the ball, you're down and loaded and ready to attack if it comes back to you. Versus, you ready for this? I'm going to keep this thing till I can score. And if I can't score, then I'll pass it, but I'm going to take one more look to see if I can. Then I'll give it to somebody, and I'll stare at him, see if he can score. You can't play basketball that way. So when you have the ball, think pass, and when you don't have it, think score. And all of a sudden, every day we're hitting on that. How about this? Run blind. What does that mean? That means run like you're going to get the ball. Any of you ever play football? Every pattern you ran, whether it was your play or not, you had to run like what? Like it was your play. So if you're running wide out on the left side, and that's for nothing. You had to run blind like it was for you so that you helped your teammates on the other side of the field get open. It's no different in basketball. Run blind. Run like you're getting the ball even if you don't. So those are all things that, and I'm going to say this, this is maybe, and I'm not disrespecting any other team I've coached, this is the greatest group of kids that I've ever coached in all my years. The greatest kids. No issues. Now,
welcome back in to the Paul Miller Ford John Calipari Show. You can reach us on the Fan Outfitters hotline. It's 1-800-249-CATS, or via Twitter. It's at UK IMG Network. And we'll go to a question via the Twitter feed right off the bat. It's from Renee, and she tweets at UK IMG Network. Cal, what's the biggest change in the team since the start of Camp Cal?
Well, again, we zeroed in on my teams historically have been some of the worst teams in steals. Now, why are my teams usually last in the league in steals? Why is that? You got any basketball bennies in here? Greg, you know? I didn't think so. Greg's football. Well, there's all kind of ways of playing this game. You can try to go up and try to steal every pass and trap and scramble and do all those kind of things. And I'm not saying that's the wrong way to play. I'm telling you, there's 1,000 ways to do this. Or you could say, we're going to play the ball really hard and pressure the ball, and everyone else is going to kind of watch the ball. So we're not going to stretch out all over the court. And we're going to give you one tough shot, and we're going to lead the nation in shots blocked, field goal percentage, defense, which means you're going to make under 4 out of 10 a game, and we're going to be such a good rebounding team. You're getting one look, and it's going to be a tough look over a big arm, and then when we get it, we're flying. So what we do historically is, all right, if we really pressure and the ball is tipped or they want to throw it away or they throw, fine. But this year's team is getting about 1.5 less steals per game than my other teams. So I'm saying if we get 2 more steals a game, how do we do that? Well, let's be more alert off the ball. let's do some things defensively in pick and rolls and post-ups that will lead maybe to another steal or two. But not at the expense of field goal percentage defense and rebounding. See, if you're out of position when they shoot the ball, hard to rebound it, isn't it? But if you're all inside your men, because you're all playing the ball, and they take a tough shot, you're in a great position to block out and rebound, which is why, historically, we're a good rebounding team, good field goal percentage team, and a good shots blocked. Like, we're in the top 10 in those. That's why we win. Yet, I'd like us to get a couple more steals per game. So we worked on that a little bit. And offensively, trying to get our guys to hold the ball less. Pass it. Give it up early. But that means when you have the ball, think. Anybody listen to what I said the first 5 minutes? Think pass. When I don't have the ball, I'm thinking score. So when I get it, if you're thinking score, are you going to hold it and put it above your head? No. If you're thinking score when you don't have it, the minute you get it, you're in an attack mode. So we're not holding the ball so long. So the guy with it is thinking pass. The guy without it's thinking I'm scoring. That means I can't catch it, put it above my head, think 5 seconds. I'm thinking before I catch that ball, where am I going with this thing? What do I have on this court? But again, it's all trying to get them to think different. Those are the things we worked on. And we scrimmaged probably an hour and a half just about every day until today. Today we went 2 hours. The other days we were going a practice or an individual in the morning for an hour, a lift, and a practice for 2.5 hours. Today we went one practice, 2 hours. Tomorrow we'll go an hour and a half. Now, Tom, why do you think I scaled back?
Game coming up.
3 games in 7 days. Tom's good. You just got to ask him the question. 3 games in 7 days. I don't need to bury him now, today, and tomorrow. They're ready. They're in good shape. They're in a great frame of mind. Now, will it carry over to the court? I don't know. Mississippi State is a good team. They're 10-3. They play like Boise, which is they don't come outside the three-point line. And if they do, they're in a 1-3 run wide lane zone, which we haven't faced this year. So they're a good team, and they're going to give us problems, and they're going to confuse. But I'll tell you, I'll tell you who's playing great. Alex. Wow. He's never – and you know why he's playing this way? Because he's in the best shape of his life. He smiled today. Now, if you're thinking, I'm exhausted, this stuff is so I can't do that, you're not going to smile. There ain't no smile coming to your face. He now is smiling. He had his head on a rim on one play. I couldn't believe it. We all stopped. Like, oh, my gosh. I'm saying now that you're playing within yourself, you're in the best shape of your life, you're mentally stronger, you're physically able to go. Let's expand your game a little bit now. Wouldn't you agree? Let's get a couple more baskets. Let's get a couple more. He should be a double-double. So now, but you couldn't do that until he mentally broke through, which he's done. How about Dominic right now? Really good. Understands his role better than anybody on the team. Aaron has been outstanding in practice now. He's barely touching the ball, and he's throwing it ahead. And when he doesn't have it, he's in an attack mode. You can't believe what he looks like right now. Aaron is still playing. James, again, we've had guys at the end of practices scale back. And I'm telling you that you're going to do that in the last 4 minutes of a game now. You can't ever, until practice ends, you are going all out. So those are the kind of stuff that we tried to train and get on, just trying to create better habits. And it just takes time. It's going to take more time than this.
Renee, thank you for the question. We're going to get to a break. Back to the Fan Outfitters Hotline when we return on the Paul Miller Ford John Calipari Show here on the UKIMG Sports Network. Welcome back into the Paul Miller Ford John Calipari Show as the Cats get set to open Southeastern Conference play on Wednesday night against the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Game tips at 8 Eastern time, which means our coverage will start at 6:30 Eastern on Wednesday from Rupp Arena. We will go to the Fan Outfitters Hotline now, down to Monticello, Kentucky. Kyle, you're on with Coach Cal.
Yes, Coach Cal. I just want to ask you about one of your former Cats, DeMarcus Cousins. After he's having a breakout season this year with the Sacramento Kings, I just want to see what you thought about it, if you've been in contact with him any this season yet.
Well, let's start with saying that DeMarcus Cousins is having an all-star year. Who else is having an all-star year? Anthony Davis is having an all-star year. Who else is having an all-star year?
John Wall.
John Wall is having an all-star year. Who else is having an all-star year? Eric Bledsoe's having an all-star year. Not far behind them, Brandon Knight, Terrence Jones, Patrick Patterson. They're all having outstanding years. You have Josh Harrelson having an outstanding year. They love Archie. They love Nerlens. Duran and Marcus are waiting for their opportunity, but they're on. Did I leave somebody off? Ennis is having an outstanding year. So basically, I'm saying every guy that's come through here is playing well. Let me say this. Who was player of the week in the D-League? DeAndre Liggins. Now, again, he'd be on a team. He had that little issue, and those teams are all waiting for him to get that cleared up. Until then, he's going to be in the D-League. So what's he do? Does he go down there and pout? No, he's player of the week in the D-League. What I'm proud of is all these guys, and we can say, oh, they all came there one and done. They were all right. And we all laugh about that. Don't we laugh? We just say, you can say that. It's not true. But I'm telling you, to do it here, to come in here and get this done. Let me just say this. Kentucky's different now. Different anywhere in the country. Anywhere in the country. We lost 3 games. Now, I want you to hear this. All ranked. One on the road, Carolina, where they don't lose. You ready? 3 minutes to go. And that was all 3 of them were 1-point games. And we had people jumping off bridges. I'm going to tell you what. And the media was jumping on this to try to bury us and me and am I right? Am I like lying? I'm just talking. You know that's true. Other teams lose 3 and 4 games. They'll be great. Wait till they get in there. We lose. Oh, you got people. That Louisville game, we had 100 writers, 100 media. 7 wrote stories. 93 had the other story written. They're going to lose. You can't do it. Cal doesn't care about Kentucky or basketball, college. He's just trying to get guys to the NBA. This is bad for But we won. And we won big with young team. And Julius didn't play in the second half. So they couldn't write the story. So 7 were written. But that's what being here is. So now as a player, anything that's thrown at you at that next level, you're ready for. You were at Kentucky. Tayshaun Prince said it best. They won the world championship. How are you going to deal with this? You know what Tayshaun said? What are you talking about? I played at Kentucky. There's nothing I'm going to see now that's crazier than this. That Louisville game was like Game 7 of an NBA championship. I'm telling you. How many of you, anybody at the game? You were lucky enough to be there. I mean, it was crazy, electric. And I'm going to say it again. The greatest thing that's happened, Cleveland State left the court. Our fans gave them a standing ovation. It doesn't happen anywhere else. Belmont leaves. That kid that got all those threes, our people are cheering. If we beat the number 1 ranked team in the country in that building, we're going to charge the court? And no one charging that court. We're supposed to win that game. Because that's making this place different. And it's different for the players. And that's why I'm really proud. They're all doing well. They're all doing well.
Kyle, we appreciate the call. We are going to get to a break. We're nearing the midway point of the Paul Miller Ford John Calipari Show, and we will be right back on the UKIMG Sports Network. We're at the midway point of the Paul Miller Ford John Calipari Show. We'll get back to our conversation with Coach Cal in just a moment. Right now, it's time for our Cat Profile of the Week, brought to you by the Wayne Supply Company, your Caterpillar dealer in Kentucky and southern Indiana. Tonight, we focus in on Aaron Harrison, nicknamed Ice. He hails from Richmond, Texas, after being born in San Antonio. His most memorable moment as a basketball player was winning the state championship, and his most prized possession is his state championship ring. Other than playing basketball, Aaron enjoys the Aaron enjoys going to movies. His greatest fear is not succeeding, and the trait that he most hates about himself is his inconsistency. One talent that Aaron would most like to have is the ability to grant everyone's wishes. He wears number 2 because it's the number he's been wearing since he was in the 2nd grade. Aaron Harrison, this week's Cat Profile of the Week, brought to you by the Wayne Supply Company. We'll get back with the second half of the John Calipari Show in just a moment on the UKIMG Sports Network. Welcome back into the Paul Miller Ford John Calipari Show. You can reach us via Twitter. It's at UKIMG Network. You can also reach us on the Fan Outfitters hotline. It's 1-800-249-2287. That's 1-800-249-CATS. A reminder that they have Eruption Zone tickets for the game Wednesday night as well as Upper Arena seats that are available.
All right, let's do this first. Now, 2 of my favorite players, and I hate to say I've had favorites. I didn't even mention Darius Miller. Now, what I love about him, and it's he and Michael Kidd. I mentioned him. I mentioned I left off 2 of my favorites. Darius, who barely played the year before I got here. The minute I saw him, I said, he is tailor-made for how we're playing. He again got himself in the greatest shape, played his way into what he is. He will be a long-time player in the NBA. Michael Kidd knew, I'm not going to get there scoring. So I'm going to be the hardest worker, and I'm going to drag practices, which is what I asked him to do. In the open court, he'll finish on anybody. He defended the 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 5, and did everything he had to do to work his way to where he is. He's injured. Darius was injured. But think about it. I just mentioned all those guys. Brandon has had career highs. He had 39 the other day. Brandon Knight. Josh is playing like 24 minutes a game. Think about what I'm saying here. Every one of those kids. I called Terrence Jones. He had 24, 13, and 3. Right? Pretty good night in the NBA. And the ticker didn't have his name. It had Superman and it had Harden. And it didn't have Terrence Jones. I called him right away. I said, you thought I held you back. I'd have got your name on the ticker. I promise you that. He said, Coach, I'm sleeping. I got to go. I called him. It was an afternoon call. But I'm proud of all those guys. Before we do any calls, let me tell you, what do you think I got up thinking about other than my son's surgery tomorrow? I hope you all say a little prayer for him. He's surgery tomorrow morning at 7:30. What do you think I got up thinking about today? Had nothing to do with basketball.
Weather?
It is so cold out. My thought came to like, wait a minute now. What about homeless people in our town in Lexington? And you have to know, you may not know this, we have a lot of homeless people in Lexington, Kentucky. See, people think, well, you got to be in Chicago, you got to be in New York, No. Right here we do.
Actually, more than in Louisville.
It's amazing to me. The second thing I want to tell you is we have a lot of elderly here. And then you thought, is anybody checking on them? Does anybody know? I mean, now all of a sudden, it doesn't get this kind of cold here. So they think, I'm okay. And let me just tell you, and again, what I'm saying to you, you have the Hope Center. And the people with the Hope, Center, you have people who have given their life to making sure of that Hope Center. It's one place you can go. They're all open 24 hours. The Salvation Army, where we did Thanksgiving dinner, is open 24 hours. So, again, there may not be somebody listening, but there may be one of you listening saying to somebody, hey, man, there's some places you can go. And the Arbor Youth Services, which is the mass drop-in, but you got to be between 1 and 17. You got to be younger to go to that service. But I will tell you, there are places. How about this one? If you got a neighbor, an elder, maybe go knock on the door. Are you okay over here? If you see someone out there, you can give them this phone number, 859-253-4636. Lextran, free bus rides.
To those shelters.
To the shelter. So if you see somebody, give them that or make the call for them. Stay right here. You see somebody out, and they don't realize how cold it is right now. I mean, it is freezing out there. No one needs to be outside. The good news is this city has some services. The bad news is we have more homeless than Louisville. And it's an issue that we can't be afraid to confront. We're worried about building all this, doing all that. We got some things here we got to deal with. So I would tell you that's what I got up thinking this morning. What are we going to do? How do these people, down by the railroad tracks, they're in tents down there. It ain't working right now. Tents aren't going to get it done in this weather. So I would tell anybody out there, 859-253-4636 for an emergency bus ride that will take you to a shelter, or you give that number to somebody who needs to go to a shelter and you know it. So, again, this is cold weather.
You got that right. And tonight's going to be even colder than last night, I think. And then it gets better, thankfully.
Now, it's not going to be like for 3 weeks, but at least for the next 2 days. You see it, your neighbor, knock on a door, make sure, especially the elderly right now who may not know how this is. Don't go to bed freezing. Don't do it. I'll be okay. I'll use more covers. No, that ain't happening. More covers are not helping tonight. There's shelters. There's buses. I can't get there. Yes, you can. There's an emergency number, 859-253-4636. And if you go over and they say, I don't have it, you can call that number and have them be picked up.
Great advice. Let's get to a break. We'll come back, get to a few more questions from Twitter and on the Fan Outfitters Hotline here on the Paul Miller Ford John Calipari Show on the UKIMG Sports Network. We're back on the Paul Miller Ford John Calipari Show. Fan Outfitters Hotline, 1-800-249-CATS. Twitter feed at UKIMG Network. And via Twitter, Lori asks at UKIMG Network, are free throws improving?
Well, there's one surefire way to improve a team's free throw shooting. One surefire way. Recruit better free throw shooters. Now, I've done this now 20-some years. The more light you bring to stuff like that, it doesn't get better. Now, what you do is, if your team is mechanically correct in how they shoot it, what is the issue? Is it their elbow, their kneecaps? What is it? It's how they think. It's all mental. So keep bringing light out. Okay, they're going to get better then. There's nothing to do mechanically. Now we're doing things like this. You have to get your heart rate to 80% and then shoot 5 free throws. Now, I've not done that before, so it's a new one. We were doing 100 free throws. You ready? Andrew Harrison made 97 out of 100. Wow. He did. And then he missed 5 of 6 in the Louisville game. Do you hear what I'm saying? You can do whatever you want. The best thing I can tell you when you're coaching is make sure your best free throw shooters are getting fouled. Your worst free throw shooters are getting fouled. You're not. Or if a guy's on a run late in the Louisville game, I made Andrew take it out. Why are you making me take it out? Because I don't want him to foul you. Throw it at somebody else. Now, I have all the confidence in him. He should be an 80% free throw shooter. Aaron should be 80. James should be 80. Julia should be at least 75. What was Alex last year?
70s.
70. So why is he 45? What, is he doing something different? No. Willie, people watch Willie shoot and say, there's nothing wrong with his shot. Why is he shooting where he is? Well, it's more mental. So I will say this to you. We're getting to the line a ton. I have all the confidence in this team. I wish they were making more free throws. And if we do make more free throws, it's going to make us really, really good. But we can win without it if we're there enough. If the other team makes 16 free throws and we make 22, but we shot 36 and they shot 18, well, you're still in that positive. But we're fine. We're fine.
Let's go to the Fan Outfitters Hotline. Madison in Henderson. You're up with Coach Cal.
Hey, how we doing, Tom, John? I'll be sure to pray for your son.
Thank you.
I got 2 questions. 1, what impresses you about Mississippi State? And 2, how difficult is it to get your players back in the groove after they've had such a long holiday weekend?
Well, first of all, they are ready to play basketball games, what they just went through. Believe me when I tell you. They see me coming right now, their heads go down. So they're ready to play. that's not the issue. It'll be now the carryover from the practices and what habits we're trying to help them develop. But they're ready to play, and I think they're in a great frame of mind, ready to go show what they worked on. I love the fact that there were things that went bad in the Louisville game, but we didn't stop. And then Julius was out, and we didn't stop. Julius didn't play in the second half, and we didn't stop. So there were some really good things. And I will tell you, what Mississippi State is, they're a good basketball team. They run their stuff. They play like a team. Defensively, they're playing inside the three-point line, kind of like Boise played. They're not going to stretch out. They're going to trap and play and crowd us, try to get you to shoot all jump shots. And then they'll go to a little 1-3-1 where they spread out all over the court. And you know whether it's being pressed or half court, I like that when they spread out against us because now we can get to driving and scrambling and throwing you know what I mean? When they pack it in, it's a little harder now because you really got to take a little more time and you understand you're going to have to take some jump shots. Belmont's coach said, they said to him, Rick Byrd, why didn't you play more zone? Because they post the ball better against zone than they do man. And I'd rather be back in there. And so, you know, it's one of those things. But they're good. They're good. They're 10-3, the best start they've had in a while. And it'll be a good game. And then we go 2 on the road at Vandy, hard game to play, right? At Arkansas, where they're 10 times better and really play. And then we got Tennessee at a noon game the next. How about our first 4? Now, I'm not saying that's tougher than anybody else's first 4, but that is a tough first 4 for a team this young.
Let's go to Mike in Cincinnati. You're up on the Paul Miller Ford John Calipari Show.
Hey, Coach. How you doing?
Good.
Good show. Enjoy the show. Love how you get the big picture on life, too. That's great stuff. And good luck to your son.
Thank
just
you.
a quick question about playing against the zone. It seems like a 2-3 or 2-1-2 really give a lot of teams on a lot of levels some problems. And I'm just wondering why college teams always seem to have to think a little bit more against the zone.
Well, there's a couple things in why people play zone. And like some teams, that's all they play. First of all, you don't have to prepare for everybody's man-to-man, which is really intricate. And if you're playing against the zone, how many things can you really run? You're running high-low. You're overloading. You're going to ball screen one side of the court or the other.
From NPR News.
You're going to try to throw it low behind the zone to throw it out. You're going to throw it middle to throw it low. I mean, there's about 6 things you can do versus zone, and that's it. There's no like, okay, we're going to run the wheel action. Well, they're not moving. They're standing there in a zone. So that's why people will play zone. And again, I'll be honest with you. We have prepared more to play zone this year than any other year. But if we keep playing good man-to-man, I'm not going to play zone. Now, if we have to, we're good. We're ready to go. But it's not something that if we're good man-to-man, how are teams going to try to beat us? Going inside? What are they going to try to shoot? Threes. That's how you're going to try to beat us. Well, by doing that, are you going to give up more threes versus zone or man? Jim Boeheim argues with me and says you can give as many up against zone as you do man. But, you know, it's how we play, and there are more teams going to zone now because of the rules, because they think that if they pack it in, they're not going to foul as much.
Mike, thank you for the call. We're going to get to a break. Back with our final segment of the Paul Miller Ford John Calipari Show on the UKIMG Sports Network. Welcome back in to the Paul Miller Ford John Calipari Show. Our final segment for this Monday evening will be on Wednesday next week, because the Cats will be traveling on Monday night for the game out in Arkansas. So Wednesday next week for this show. Question from our Twitter feed at UKIMG Network from Micah. Will we see more of Marcus Lee, or are you sticking with the normal or the rotation you have now?
Well, we need to keep him engaged, and we got to keep Derek Willis engaged, because they're both going to be terrific players. We need them, and before the year's out, they're going to help us win games. I believe that.
Let's go to Joe in Campbellsville. You're next up with Coach Cal.
Hey, Coach Cal, a couple of quick comments. Just best wishes to your son tomorrow. And you may not know this. I know, there's been a little criticism here and there, but I travel all over the state. You're the most loved, appreciated coach I believe I've ever seen in college basketball.
Well, I appreciate you saying that.
Here in Kentucky.
Yeah, but let me say this. When I walk into an opposing arena, I am not well loved. I'm just going to tell you. I like to walk out when their team walks out so they can cheer their team or boo me. You can't do both.
Thank you, Joe.
Let me do this because we only got 2 minutes. Now I'm going to say this again. You're not going to put enough covers on yourself tonight to keep warm. You're just not. If you don't have heat or you're outside, you can go to the Hope Center. You can go to Salvation Army. If you're 17 or under, you can go to the Arbor Youth Services. LexTran will take free buses. There are free bus rides to any of the emergency centers, and you can call 859-253-4636, and they will come and get you to take you to one of those places. I'm telling you, there's not going to be enough. Well, my electric blanket. Okay, now the electricity goes out. What are you going to do? So it's one of those things. This is crazy. This is not normal. This is across 50 states. It's not just here in Lexington. If you need it, they have these for you. If you think you have a neighbor, go knock on the door. If you have an old elderly neighbor, go knock on the door or call. Are you okay? You have any issues with your heat? This is going to be crazy tonight and tomorrow, right? Is it tomorrow too?
Yep. Starts to warm up tomorrow afternoon, I think. But
okay.
Tonight's the worst of it.
Just be safe, all you people out there. Again, I'll tell you this. Enjoy the journey of this team. Quit getting caught up in watching the tape 7 times. Quit talking about the free throw shooting. It'll be fine. I'm not worried about it. I'm coaching the team. Okay? All I'm worried about is, are we playing harder? Are we sustaining effort? Are we playing together? Think pass when you have the ball. Think shot when you don't have the ball. Run blind. Run like you're going to get the ball. That's what I'm worried about. Okay? And I'm also worried about my son tomorrow at 7:30 in the morning.
For all of Big Blue Nation, we'll send up a prayer tonight for Brad, so we wish him well in the surgery. And
thanks.
The whole family.
Thanks, all folks, for being here tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. We had some fun. Thanks.
Hey, Cal, one real quick question from Kentucky Hoss about the father-son camps, wanting information. Is that on your website?
Yeah, the website, the father-son camp, which is the funnest camp for us to work. I had more enjoyment being there and watching the fathers watch the sons. More importantly, how about this? The sons watching the fathers.
So CoachCal.com. Check that out. So there's the answer to that question. And again, Wednesday night next week for the Paul Middleford John Calipari Show on the UKIMG Sports Network.